Hello, this is Courtney Lindau,
Danielle Gaudet.
Linda Yunjin.
and you're listening to the For a New Humanity podcast from Earth Management TV. Today's topic is man versus nature.
So I heard a little question mark at the. So why is this topic posed as a question?
Yeah. Okay. Good question. I think we want to pose the question, are human beings different from what we typically refer to as nature? Because when we talk about nature, we're referring to animals, plants, trees, the ocean, sun, mountains, etc. And then I think we often see humans as very separate from this.
I don't know why. It's a little kind of sad to me. I actually feel like relief question mark. Like, this word versus, man versus nature. It feels so heavy and sad. And it's like, it really just reminds me how we are tearing down nature. We're hurting the earth with this like against mentality.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think,
That's the way we've actually been living.
yeah. And I think that's why we have to address it, because maybe, if we have lived in a way that we're versus nature or fighting nature, maybe right now we have to readdress, maybe we're not that different from nature. Is that possible?
Mm.
Yeah. I mean, I think we can all acknowledge that we couldn't survive without nature. Our bodies need air. We need to drink water. We need to eat food that comes from the earth. We need to receive sunlight. So no matter what you kind of believe in or background you have, this is true for all human beings. No human being can survive without at least some elements from nature.
I'm going to play a little devil's advocate here, because there might be some people who are thinking this. So that sounds like a good idea, but just to kind of play the other side, does that truly make us nature though? Because according to Oxford Languages, the definition of nature is, and I'm reading this verbatim, the phenomena of the physical world collectively, including plants, animals, the landscape, and other features and products of the earth, as opposed to humans or human creations.
I see. Mm.
So that's the technical definition.
Yeah. Right. But I feel like, where it says here, like, okay, as opposed to humans or human creations, because human creations are obviously man-made, right? So I get that they're not natural because they're made by man. But humans themselves, we are not made by man. I mean, hopefully not, right? Originally, we're also a natural creation. We're a natural phenomena occurring on this earth. So in that way, we are created through a natural process, just as the other things that were listed in that definition.
Yeah, I do agree with that point, because I definitely think that also that we are naturally occurring creatures on Earth. And that's fact. Like no matter what background, it's true. We're naturally created, just like animals are naturally occurring life forms on the planet. Human beings are naturally occurring life forms on the planet.
Right. But
Yeah,
I want to mention too that, our current behavior as we're living on Earth is not necessarily in harmony with nature or promoting nature's survival. We have a history and we are still conquering it instead of coexisting with it. Or just we're still trying to make profit. We're trying to cut down more trees. We're trying to kind of squeeze more oil from the earth than we have.
right. So I guess that's where this whole like title comes from, and this versus concept, because we are behaving that way actually as a collective, as humanity, man, woman, all of us. We tend to be like us against nature rather than what you're saying, this harmonious coexistence together with nature.
Yeah. In fact, when there's a natural disaster, a lot of people feel like we're being punished by nature, like nature's winning when something big, devastating happens, like a tsunami or earthquake.
Right. I feel like since the beginning of time, human beings have been like afraid of nature. I mean, originally, right? Like we were being eaten by animals. We were kind of the weakest animals. And so we started to develop, our brains developed, we developed tools. And then as our neocortex developed more and more, we figured out how to protect ourselves by basically building civilizations that keep us safe from nature, keep us away from the forests, the jungles where like the wild animals are, keep us sheltered, and then cities that protect us from elements. We just kind of keep seeking to protect ourselves as if nature can hurt us, like it's a dangerous thing. I think deep inside, we have that kind of mentality.
Yeah, that's a really great point because if our ancestors kind of created us, their descendants with that kind of mentality and that kind of belief, then it's no wonder that it's been prolonged until now, 2023, this ancient way of thinking. So maybe this way of kind of like separating ourselves from nature to protect us from the elements, to protect us from the threats that were very real, like 2000 BC, like back in civilization,
Right.
maybe it applied then. But now in 2023, reality is we don't have tigers chasing us. We don't have bears trying to eat us out in the wild. Those threats are not the same anymore in this day and age. So I feel like this old way of thinking and perceiving nature is outdated for 2023, given our current reality and circumstance, how much we've progressed as a society. So I think that paradigm doesn't serve us anymore. This idea that we need to, quote unquote, protect ourselves from nature by separating from it.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. Well said. Right. In fact, we need nature. Right. I think most people can relate to that. We release stress when we're out in nature. And you may have heard there's this concept called biophilia, which is the scientific study of our innate human instinct to need and to want to connect with nature and other living beings. And there's been studies that support that going out into nature improves our cognitive function. We get more creative ideas and improves our physical health and our psychological well being, too.
Mm. Yeah. I want to go as far as to say, like, I feel like the reason why that happens, like, why nature is so healing for people, why we feel so peaceful, we release stress, we get quiet, is because, we're made of the same stuff. So we're connecting with our kind of original nature, our natural self. Like, we're coming out of all of this man made, noisy stuff that stresses us out. And actually, we're just connecting with the nature inside of us. We can feel that when we're sitting by a river, or we're on the mountain, or we're just, walking through a forest. We can feel that nature. We can feel the nature that we are originally.
Yeah, I really like that. I like that a lot because just like nature is peaceful and calming, we also, I think, maybe for some people it's deeply buried inside, while other people it's more apparent on the surface. But anyway, your point, Danielle, is that we have that innate peace and calm inside of us, just like nature. I really like that idea.
Yeah. And then the design of our world really pulls us away from it. So it's just time for us to reconnect with that place.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think a lot of people are. I think very naturally people are going and spending more time outside. And we'd love to recommend that to you guys too. So it doesn't have to be something fancy. You don't have to plan a trip to the Grand Canyon, but just going to your local park, taking a walk, being near trees, take some time to rest, to breathe outside, just being with nature and see if you can, help yourself connect to that internal nature inside.
Yes.
I think we should all do that today.
Yeah, I'm going to do that today.
Me too. So I want to thank you all so much for listening to our podcast today. Please do comment. We'd love to hear what you guys think, what your impressions are about nature. And next week, stay tuned. We're going to be talking about how can businesses prioritize the planet.
Speaking of man versus nature, how can businesses prioritize the planet rather than destroy the planet for profit?
So thank you so much, everybody. We'll see you next time.
Okay. See you next time. Bye-bye. Bye.